Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club, the place investors go to learn tips, tricks, and stories from other investors in the field. If you feel we provide value to you, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, share whatever it may be, and if you'd like for us to cover a specific topic, let us know in the comments or reach out to us through our website. Today we have a very special guest, so buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right, we are live. Donna, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. It's good to meet you, Cape.
Absolutely. Where are you calling from?
Lubbock, Texas.
Lubbock, Texas. And we actually just went over this. That is in the north, not the south of Texas.
That is correct.
All right. So to get us started, why don't you tell everybody, who you are, where you're from, and how you got started in real estate in the first place.
Okay. I was born and raised in Lubbock. Been here in the real estate business for 26 years. And prior to that, I worked in the medical field in the cardiac cath lab.
Oh, wow.
And I left because I was trying to get pregnant. And that's why when I decided to go back to doing something, I decided to do something with people, but not sick people. So I don't know how, but I came up with real estate.
I like it.
Yeah.
And that you said that was 28 years ago?
26 years ago.
26 years ago. All right. So
Yeah.
you are a veteran of the field.
I've been doing it a long time. I've seen ups and downs in the market.
Perfect. You got plenty of wisdom to share. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit, what is it that you do in real estate? What's kind of your niche?
Well, I'm a real estate broker now. I own my own company.
Okay.
But everybody that works for me works out of their home.
Okay.
I started working out of the home when I decided to get my broker's license, and that's when I fell in love with it. So I have about 4 agents right now that work under me, and I have property management team that works under me as well.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty much getting retired for myself doing real estate, unless I'm referred someone or it's a past client. So
Gotcha.
I've got other people that are making me a living right now, which is nice. So, but
And I know before the show,
do what?
I know before the show, you and I were talking. You used to invest in real estate, and so you've since kind of veered away from real estate investing.
I did. I've bought several properties, and I guess about 14 years ago or so, I decided to liquidate, just because being a landlord's tough, I think.
For sure.
And then also having to go to court to evict and all that. It's not that hard. It's just that I didn't like to have to evict people. And I'm just too soft-hearted for that part of the business. So I decided to get out of the leasing business. For me personally.
Yep.
But I'm the broker, like I said, for a company called Property Management Services. And this guy came on with me. It'll be 4 years in August. And he's already got about 250 properties. So he has hustled trying to get a lot of business. And he's on the higher end. He doesn't do a lot of the tech students. He just does a lot of the higher end for family rentals versus students.
Gotcha. Okay. So a long time ago, you started out, you bought a bunch of properties, you're renting them out. You kind of went through the whole having to evict people once they started, non-payment.
Well, yes. And then also just, in 2008, the market kind of crashed. So I guess I started, like I said, about 14 years ago, trying to get rid of stuff. Not because of the crash, just like I said, because of my personality versus, I don't have that kind of heart. But
Yep.
I just decided to get out of it when my nephew graduated from tech, and then I decided to sell my properties.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're out of real estate investing completely, and you still service real estate investors though, like
yes,
you find houses for them.
Leasers, yes. I do a lot of leasing. People who are wanting to invest. I sell a lot of those properties, but I don't manage them. I just let the guy that does that part of my business do that. and that's where they, or they can manage them themselves, whichever they choose.
Gotcha. And so give us a high level overview of the different pillars of your business right now. I know you mentioned it earlier just a second, but you were saying you do property management. Property management is within your business, but it's headed by somebody else.
Right.
And then you're a broker as well. Are there any other revenue streams that you're?
Well, I also do for a title company out of Austin, Texas. I do evictions on foreclosures, not on investment properties. But so I go to court and talk to the judge. Usually, they haven't paid at least 6 to 8 months before the foreclosure even starts. So they've lived there for quite some time for free, and the judge then they only get 7 days from the time we go to court to get out.
7 days. Wow. That's very
Yes.
different from Washington State. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's 7 days once the foreclosure, because the property is already owned by somebody else.
Yeah.
It could be the bank or it could be an individual, but they've lived there for all those months free, so they only have 7 days to get out.
Wow.
And if they don't, then we have to go back and find a writ of possession or file a writ of possession, and then take a sheriff with us to the property, and he stands guard so there's nobody getting injured, and then literally taking their stuff out of the home, and we put it on the front lawn.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so if they're not there, people can come and just ransack it basically if they want to.
Jeez.
But we're not responsible once it leaves that inside of the property, and then we change the locks on the door and all that stuff. So it's not fun, but it happens.
Yep. Okay. So you do property management, you work as a broker, and then you also work with foreclosures.
For a title company, yes, out of Austin, Texas. It's all the foreclosures that are located within our region here. I travel probably at least 50 to 75 miles to do foreclosure evictions with judges.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so kind of we're going to go a little bit further into your business, kind of how it operates now that we've got a kind of high level of understanding of where you're at. So kind of, can you describe how do you go about attracting new clients for any sector of your business? And what's the favorite tool that you use to do that? Is it completely networking? Do you do digital marketing?
I do a lot of networking, and Facebook. All different types. LinkedIn, I don't do much because it's not a lot of people that are coming to Lubbock. Lubbock is a neat town because we're so medically educated here, and then also Texas Tech brings in a lot of people. So our I'm sorry, I went blank. What is the word?
No worries.
I'll tell you in a minute. But anyway. I'm a broker for Donna Dubose Realtors here in Lubbock, Texas. And then, like I said, I have agents that work under me that work out of their home. And they're up, whatever they decide to do for advertising is up to them, because I don't charge a lot of commission, and I don't also do a lot of advertising for each individual. It's just done under my name if I do anything for advertising. Now, I might mention other agents and their qualities and what they like to work with. If it's a new buyer or a brand new buyer, basically, that's never bought before, I love to work with those first people. And, there's high-end buyers, there's, investment buyers, there's all kinds of different buyers, but I try to separate that and assign other agents for those different types of work that they like to do. And, they get others too as well. But if I get a call and it's not someone I know or that somebody has referred to me, then I refer them out to the other agents to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that way they've got some business going, hopefully all the time. So. All
right. Okay. So when you're working with investors specifically, what is it? First of all, what is it that what type of investors are you working with, or is it completely residential? Do you work with multifamily, commercial?
I do work with some multifamily, but I'm really not specialized in that. So if I get to a situation that I don't know what I need to do, I usually refer that out to someone who does. But normally it's residential here.
Okay.
And we have a lot of, 2-bedroom, 1-bath or 2-bedroom, 2-bath homes for Texas Tech. We also have a code here in Lubbock that if someone buys a residential property, that no more than 2 non-related people can live in that property. And that's to cut down on the parties of tech and all that. So we have them sign an affidavit that we told them that, because if that for some reason they get too loud and the police come and shut it down, and the parents didn't know that law, that or that city code, it's really not a law, but that city code, then we've got proof that we actually told them about it. Because yeah, it's really interesting. So, Tom, Dick, and Harry can't live together in a single family residence unless they're actually related, or at least 2 of them have to be related. So it's kind of difficult for a lot of parents who want to buy investment properties for the 4 years that their child's going to be at Tech, and then not have 3 or 4 roommates to help pay that mortgage.
That makes sense.
So it's kind of interesting here.
Yeah, it's very unique to kind of a college town, it sounds like.
Yes,
or college
it's definitely,
area.
we definitely have a college down here. But, this COVID has really stopped a lot of things now. I don't know if they're going to even have sports this, fall. I know that they're working on it, but whether they do or not, I don't know.
Gotcha.
But I don't think it's going to be open to where it's full capacity if we do that for social distancing. And that's caused a lot of issues, with a lot of people, because we make a lot of money off of off of Texas Tech. And if you can't provide meals or whatever through a lot of the vendors that, do luncheons for them, that's all been cut out for them. Yep. So it's just really a sad situation. I hope that clears up soon. So,
as do I. I'm pretty tired of being inside for sure. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears just a little bit here. Okay. You've talked a little bit about your business, how it works, what you do. So I kind of want to hear more about the stories that you've had and your experiences. So we all know real estate is it's a roller coaster, both it's economically and emotionally. You got your ups, you got your downs.
Definitely.
So kind of take me to the moments. What was the most difficult thing that you've experienced as a real estate investor and as a broker? And kind of what were the lessons that you learned in those moments? And then take us to the top. Like what is the highest thing? Why do you keep coming back to real estate? Why do you love it so much?
I love real estate. Number one, just because of the people that you get to meet and work with. And I'm really, I want to make a relationship with those people. I don't just want to sell them a property and I want to, take care of them, going over the inspection reports and that kind of stuff to let them understand what they're buying and if there is an issue. So sometimes you lose people over things like that because there's something on there that they just can't live with. Mm-hmm. Or there's numerous things that, are on that information, and they don't want that house because of all the different things that are going on.
Yep.
With it. So that's difficult, but I'll tell you a story. When I first got in the business, I worked for a company called Westmark Property or Westmark. And I went there because of the training that they did. I had my first gentleman came from Winters, Texas, and he wanted to buy a house for his daughter to go to school. And he wanted it to be around $20,000. Okay. Well, there's nothing that you want to put a kid in for $20,000 or in a location that you want to put them in, especially a female. So I showed him everything we had, and he just couldn't do it. So we went up to $35,000, and I found a house for him. But anyways, he bought it, and he wrote a letter to my broker and said that I gave him Cadillac service on a VW budget. And I'll never, ever forget that, because that just made my day. And then I challenged a builder one time. I went in and looked at his property. He was sitting in the house, and I asked him if he had a realtor that was working with him. And he said no. And I said, if I can sell this property, I want you to list all your properties with me. And he just kind of laughed. And I said, I'll sell it this weekend. So I went in and showed the house that weekend, and I wrote a contract. So I got all of his business for about 10 years after that.
Wow.
So, you have those. And then the worst incident that happened to me was I sold a custom property to be built to one of my friends. And all of a sudden, I'm out showing property that day, and I come in, and the secretary gives me this business card, and it's from the IRS.
Uh-oh.
And I thought, oh my God, my husband didn't pay taxes, or what's going on here? So I called him, and he told me that I could tell him where this builder was, or he would take me to court and make sure that I told him where it was. Well, I said, what do you want to know? And he wanted to know a lot of things. So I told him everything about where this builder had things hidden. And, he had a boat hidden in one of the garages of one of his other houses. But this guy owed everybody, which I didn't know at the time. Well, in the middle of the night, he left. And I've got my house going with my friend that he's supposed to be building, and all he's done is dig the basement.
Oh, geez.
And so I go to the land developer at that time and told him that I needed help. And he said, what's going on? And I said, well, this builder left town, and I need this house finished, and I don't have a builder. And so he took it on. And I ended up being his realtor as well for land development and new sales of custom homes. Oh, wow. So that's how I really got into the business, and I loved what I did. I loved just working with everybody from high end to low end, but it takes just as much work to sell a $30,000 home as it does $1 million or $2 million property. People think it might be different, but you still have the struggles. You still have inspections, and you have people that don't qualify for some reason. A lot of people here, we've seen the houses go back on the market because they've lost their job. Yep. Due to the COVID-19. And so we've seen a lot of people buy, and then something happened, and they don't qualify. But I've had a lot of good stories I could tell, but some of them aren't even suited for the air. But, you just go through your ups and downs, and you try to I tell people when I show them, please don't tell me what you think while we're in the house, because the property owner might have set up a recording, or might be listening from a device. You don't ever know. Yeah. So I said, just don't say anything, because I represent the buyer and don't want the seller to know what that buyer is thinking, really. So just say, don't say anything until we get back outside or back to the car. So that's been interesting to work with people and say, don't say anything, but I always do that. But I want them to be level with me when we do get out in the car and tell me what their truth is and what they really think. And then I can walk them through the differences or why or whatever. So I do enjoy all different types of people. I haven't had anybody that I didn't want to work with. So that's a good thing.
Wow, you're blessed. So it sounds like, your peaks have pretty much just been the relationships that you've developed.
You want the relationships, and you want to keep them, because if they stay here, usually within 5 to 7 years, they're going to buy something else.
That makes sense.
So you want to keep that channel going all the time, and you want to stay in constant contact with those people. Not constant, but you want to stay in contact with them at least 4 times a year, and let them know that you're still there, because I think that people forget who their realtor is faster than anything, especially their name. And if we move from one company to another, you need to announce that so people know who you are, or remember that you were their realtor and that you've moved.
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast. So how, what's the best way that you found of doing that? Just keeping in contact with people?
I do mail outs. I do phone calls.
So you
I do a
call
lot
phone
of,
calls, meaning
do
like
what,
you
sir?
call people?
I
You
do
said
call
phone
people
calls, meaning you'll call them every month, every year?
about every quarter and just say, how are the kids doing? Is school going good? Or, just wanted to check and touch base with you and let you know that I was thinking about you today, or this today is your, 1 year anniversary of buying your home.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And, that's how I keep in touch. And also, if they have kids, I like to get the birth dates so I can call and wish them a happy birthday and let the parents know that, that just reiterates that they know that I care about them and that I would love to work with them again.
Absolutely.
If there's ever that chance. So.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna change gears one last time here, and I kind of want to go into your personal motivation, and what makes you succeed in this business. You've already kind of touched on it a few times. You've talked about just connecting, being in connection with your clients, and keeping in contact with them. But if you could kind of highlight just one habit that one personal habit that you have that most contributes to your success as a real estate. Used to be investor, now broker. What would that habit be?
Well, I think also to work with investors, you have to, know exactly what they're wanting and what part of town they want and that kind of stuff, because we have a variety of houses here. Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of know what everybody wants when you go out with them. Yeah. But I feel that every realtor gets burned out if they work 7 days a week. And when I first got in the business, sweet little lady who's now deceased, but she came up to me and said, I want to talk to you. She took me in her office and she said, you need to start taking 1 day off a week. And I didn't understand that. And I said, what do you mean? Because I was this go-getter. When the phone rang, I got up and went and showed. And she said, you need to take 1 day off a week, if it's a Thursday or, whatever day, Monday, and just block that off as if you're busy. So if somebody calls in, you take the phone call, but you tell them that you're already booked for that day, but you'd love to work with them, the next morning or whatever day that they would like. And that way, she said, you won't get burned out. That's your personal day to go recharge, do something that, to just recharge. And you have to recharge or you do get burned out. But you have to be an outgoing person to be in real estate. I tell people, don't go home. Go and, if you go to the grocery store or go to the mall or wherever you might go, you need to be present so people know who you are. And you can't, and I can talk to a wall. So that's another trait. You've got to be able to talk to people. And
got to be able to talk to a wall.
Yeah, you've got to be able to open up and let people know basically what you do. And so you might start with something. I got in an elevator one time and I had foot surgery and I had those blue boots on. And how everybody gets in an elevator and they always look down. They don't look at each other and say hi, or, they just get in and push that button and their backs to you.
Yep.
So I had this sweet little lady next to me and I nudged her and I said, I bet you wish you had shoes like me. Well, the whole elevator just died laughing. And I said, this is the toughest thing I have to do is walk in these boots and sell real estate. But you have to get that real estate in there. You don't have to, announce that I'm Donna Dubose and I sell real estate. I just do it casually these boots are really hard to work in, and especially selling real estate. You just have to kind of get that plug in there.
Yep. So, just let it be known that you are a realtor.
You just have to, always mention it or have a name tag on that says that you're a realtor. You just need to do it some way, but I can do it verbally. Like I said, I can talk to a wall, so I can do it pretty much anyway. So
I like it. So kind of piggybacking on that question, you started, what did you say, 28, 26 years ago. So you've had a, wide breadth of experience. If you could go back to that Donna, who was, 26 years younger, and give her just one piece of advice going forward in your career, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't be afraid to ask for people's business.
Okay.
It's just like going and door knocking, which that's what I used to do, was go out and knock on doors or put flyers on doors and walk it instead of mailing it or putting it online or whatever. But you've got to stay out and ask for the business. If you can't ask for it, then you're not going to get it. It's just like with builders, they've got tons of realtors that would work with them. So you've got to make sure that you go out and see them a couple of times a week and then ask for their business. So that, you've got to praise them and what they're building and be supportive of what they're building if you want to represent them. So you have to always ask for business. And
I like it.
I was a go-getter. I never sat around the office. I went out and like I said, I could talk to a wall. So I would go out and just, even if I was shopping, somebody would say, well, how's your day when you're checking out the grocery store? And I'm going to say, it's great. I just listed a property. And then they know that you're a realtor. All right. So you can always get it in there.
Yep. And kind of tying that back to investing. So you said you have to ask. And so if you were, back in your investor's shoes, that would be asking other agents if they could pass you any real estate investment deals that come along their table. Does that sound about right?
Yes, it really does. I mean, okay. You just got to be available. Yep. And you got to be a go-getter and find what those investors are looking for. Because it might not be listed. And, if you need to go knock on doors and ask somebody if they are willing to sell their property, you do that. Or you call them, which I don't ever call anymore because there's a lot of do not calls unless I've worked with them in the past. Okay. So you don't want to call a lot of people on the phone because it's a do not call.
Yeah.
So, and you don't want to upset them in any way to where they're going to turn you in that you called.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of mail outs or, like I said, go up to the door if I really need that property, and I'll go up and ask. I don't call, but I'll go up and knock on the door.
All right, Donna, we are at the end of we're over our 20-minute period. We like to keep these segments pretty short. So first of all, I appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody listening and watching has appreciated everything that you shared with us. You need things too, so give us two things. One, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, what would be the best way to get in contact with you? And two, what is it that you need that you would like if somebody brought to you?
And I didn't understand the last question.
What is it that you want people to bring to you? So usually I ask this for investors. So a lot of investors will say, if you have any distressed single family properties, I'd love to see them. If you have any distressed multifamily, you're an agent. So you probably want anybody who's looking to sell a house in the Lubbock area.
You bet. Like I said, I'm Donna Dubose, Donna Dubose Realtors. I've been in the business 26 years. I've been through the highs and the lows of the business, but you can contact me at 806-535-1920 and leave me a message if I don't answer, or you can text me as well. And if you can't reach me, usually I contact somebody back within 30 minutes. That's my goal. Even if I'm showing, I'll get in my car and call somebody back and say, this is, I'm with the client. Would you please let me call you back when I get through? And that usually works really well. Or you can also look me up in Realtors or under Lubbock Association of Realtors. But we have websites with West Texas, with Real Property Management Services. So he'll help you with all of your investment or your rentals that you want to purchase, or I can actually transfer you to him. But we're available for all different types of business, commercial, real estate investment, real estate flipping, real estate buying and selling. I don't do a lot of commercial real estate, but I do have some people that I would be confident in referring people to. So I think that, they've got a good variety if they choose Donna Dubose Realtors.
Okay, sounds good. Well, again, Donna, stay on after I sign off here, but it has been a pleasure talking with you. And again, I speak for everybody, both listening and watching. Thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom. We've enjoyed it. And so for everybody watching, Donna just gave you her phone number. So if you want to get in contact with her, go ahead and reach out to her, text or call, she said. Other than that, we will see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you so much, Gabe.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Investing Club. If you feel we provided value, we would appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up, share it with your friends online, whatever it may be. If you'd like to share or partner with us on an investment deal, we are always looking for quality projects. Go to www.therealestateinvestingclub.com to get in contact with one of our partners. Otherwise, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.